good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another week of the Global Cafe. My name is Natalie Mistry, Senior Policy and Project Coordinator here at the IFA. And today I am very excited to be introducing you all to Dr. Hugo Paredes on the topic of virtual reality and interactive technologies as an enabler for older adults. So, Dr. Hugo Paredes received his bachelor's in engineering and PhD degrees in computer science from the University of Minho, and the habilitation in information title from the University of Trás-os-Montes y Alto Douro, or UTED. Sorry for the pronunciation. So, he was a software engineer at SIBS SA and a software consultant at Novabase Outsourcing SA. And since 2003, he has been at UTED, where he's a full professor. In 2017, he co-founded RoboCode Generation, a startup company, and a UTED spinoff, where he was a scientific consultant until 2021. During 2017, he was visiting faculty at Human-Computer Interaction Institute at Carnegie Mellon University, and he was pro-rector for digital transition and administrative transformation at UTED from May 2021 to September 2023. He is a senior researcher at the Institute for Systems and Computer Engineering, Technology and Science, or INESC Tech, where he was assistant coordinator of the Center for Computer Graphics and Information Systems, or Human Eyes, formerly CSIG, and that's between 2020 and 2021. And his main research interests are in the domain of human-computer interaction, namely the topic of human AI applied to climate change, accessibility, health, and active and healthy aging. He is a member of the JUCS Board of Editors, was guest editor of 4 special issues in journals indexed by the Journal Citation Reports, and collaborates with the organization of several international conferences. He has authored or co-authored more than 150 refereed journals, book chapters, and conference papers, and he is one of the inventors of a granted patent and patent pending request. He coordinates the Horizon 2020 VR2 Care project, which is a multi-user mixed virtual reality service, and has participated and leads several projects, including national and international projects with public and private funding. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Paredes. So I just kind of wanted to start off by asking about your story and how you got involved in the work that you do today. You know, what kind of led you to focus on aging and older people within your career of computer science and engineering?
Good morning, everyone. So good morning for me in Portugal. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for this invitation and challenge to talk with you and discuss with you what I have been doing and how research group have been doing in bringing technology to augment human capabilities. So I would say this is the major topic that I've been working for more than 25 years, is checking how we can study technology, how we can develop tools and put those tools on the hands of the users to enhance their capabilities. So I started this journey, and let me talk about the journey. 25 years ago, working with my first actually project was working with blind users. So was developing a browser in 1999 for blind users in Portugal. Then we just decided to create a mobile application for blind users to take notes. When pocket devices were just a few, it's not as we have today. So, but actually we start creating these kind of technologies for assistive technologies for these users. So after this, I also have been in some projects for deaf users, and the impact of this kind of project. So I've been in a national event for deaf, presenting a simple application that can connect them with emergency services, just to ask for help. And the impact that simple application have on them, on all of them, was amazing. And that actually bring us to do one more step and contribute a little bit more for helping those to augment their capabilities. And this is once again what we actually focus on our research group. And then one more step was actually a challenge. So we work and our research group works from around 2005, 2006 with virtual worlds, so in immersive environments. And we were challenged by one company to create these, or to create a proof of concept of these virtual worlds to be used in a as a gym, so where people can interact. And the first thing that we think about was, so let's make it for the older adults, not just to select a group, and let's connect people that are in the rural areas. So I live in a area that is rural, and we have a very aging population here. So let's make technology not only for people to do exercise and have an active life, but mostly for them to interact with each other, to have technology to bring them together. And actually, we create this proof of concept. And after creating this proof of concept, we have some tests with some users. So we put one system with a researcher at home of one person, and then with another. So it was only 5 people. But at the end, when we just turn off the system and say, so goodbye, thank you very much for your cooperation in this research, the reply that we had is, so when can we do this again? And this is once again what bring us to do a follow-up and actually bring us to what we are doing here, that is the VR to Care project. And what we are doing in VR to Care is mostly motivated by this. So in a short summary of, I just talk a little bit about what I've been doing and connecting these points, but and bringing to now that we are at the Art to Care. That is a project that I coordinated, and I fight during 10 years to have funding for it, and finally we are seeing the results of the project.
Amazing. Thank you so much for giving us that introduction and how you kind of, came about, like the progress, from initially starting with those who are blind or deaf, and then kind of working your way up into this kind of thing, and seeing that there was a need for more. People are like, oh, when can we do this again? And I love that you guys took that further with the VR2 Care project. So you mentioned that very briefly. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about the project itself in terms of its goals, and what kind of makes it so unique.
Yeah, so what we had at Online Gym, that was this first project, was something that was a proof of concept. So we need to put researchers at home of those users, so they can actually start the system and guide the users through all of that. And that was not what we want. What we really want was that they can be autonomous, and they can have a system they can use as they use their everyday tools. And one thing that we know, at least in Portugal and some of European countries, is a very important companion device that older adults have is their TV. So, but TV is just in one direction. It's not in the. It's not a bi-directional tool. So what we want is that create this interaction in the TV. And of course, exercise was not the main focus, was the second objective. The objective is actually put technology to connect people, to create bridges between users. And if you go to areas that have populations of 10, 20 people in a villa, in a small village, so they cannot talk with lots of people. So they want to talk with others. So what we want is to have a small device connect to the user's TV that opens the world and other users so they can talk, they can discuss, and of course, do some exercise because it's always good to do some exercise while they are talking. And this is what we actually do on the gym. But the main objective is transform the proof of concept that we have into something that we can actually use autonomously in users' homes. And more than that, what we want a little bit more is to create this ecosystem. So not only focus on the socialization and actually on the physical exercise, but also on monitoring all of that. So people can understand they are not alone. They also have their physical trainer, their family, their relatives, their friends that can understand how they are evolving, if they are feeling well, if they are not feeling well, how they are doing exercise, how is their adherence to that. And actually, this was, and of course, going a little bit further. So this was the main objective of VR2Care, and not only bringing research, also bringing companies, and also bringing institutions and end users, organizations, so that we can enlarge our test. So this was actually our main objective in VR2Care, and promoting these interactive technologies for everyone, and having these ambassadors of interactive technology. Because when you want to do this transition, when you want to introduce virtual reality, I'm not thinking about putting an headset on everyone. I'm thinking about creating some a stair with some steps, so we can slowly go up the stair and introduce the technology for these people. And of course, if we are thinking about older adults, of course, they can have benefits of using virtual reality and this immersion, and also what this brings as possibilities. So this was these are actually the objectives of VR2Care, and this is what we are doing in the project.
Amazing. Thank you for kind of outlining how you do it. It's it's stepwise kind of process for these individuals. They're not just thrown into the the realm of virtual reality and have to figure it out. They're guided, and they're led to understand it through a source like a television, which is what they're really familiar with, to kind of go through. So I was just wondering, what other areas or fields do you kind of see this type of virtual reality project expanding into? Are there any ways where you see this project helping older adults besides encouraging, engagement with each other, that socialization aspect? You mentioned physical activity and rehabilitation. Is there anything else that you kind of see this expanding into?
Yeah, so let me just go a little bit back from our roots. And when we start using virtual reality, it was not, as I said, it was virtual worlds. So one thing that I don't know if you know, was Second Life. So, and Second Life was his, actually it's also still alive, is a virtual world uh, where people can have a second life, so a virtual second life. And I think this is something that we can do virtually. So one thing is what we are in reality. One thing is what the virtual can brings to us. And of course, in these virtual environments, we can be wherever we want, and we can have our different identity. We can actually behave differently, and uh, these possibilities can be used. Or even we can be something different from a person. We can be a bird or a dog or something like that. So, and experience that. So one thing that in a brainstorm regarding VR to care, in the first brainstorm that we have in the project, one thing that I said is, so why should I be embodied in a human body when I have an avatar and not in a bird, and do things like move as a bird or move as a dog and do exercise like that, because I can have exercises that are like being a bird. And so, and when I'm saying this is, why should I create an avatar that is really my mirror into these virtual environments, and why can I not be anything else? And of course, this can be also a protect. We can see this a, a as a challenge, or as actually an hazard, but also we can see this as a protection. So as a protection for protecting us from showing our real identity, to talk about something that we are not prepared at the first moment to share with others. And this can protect our privacy. And I'm not talking about the particular case of older adults, but for everyone. And of course, we can think about older adults about this. And of course, this can create other kind of environments where we can freely speak, where we can freely behave without the concerns about the real society, the real others. And this can bring lots of new possibilities. So this is why what I bring Second Life. It was because Second Life brings these possibilities, and of course, virtual reality and these virtual worlds bring these new possibilities. But we need a way, and we need easy ways for all the adults to use these technologies, and to create, to develop their capabilities to use this technology. Because if you see it from stock, from out of the shelf, they are not so easily used by those. You need to adapt the interfaces, what they want to do, not having all those possibilities. And I would say just give them what they need, and not all the possibilities that you could have. So this is a usability evaluation that needs to be performed, and of course this adaptation is required for the personalization of the environment for those that will use those kind of environments.
Perfect. Amazing. So, in your opinion, what would be some of the general benefits of using any kind of interactive technology, such as virtual reality, with older persons? And what are some of the potential drawbacks or obstacles that you see?
So one thing is, so you are immersed. So if you get the 3D, so there are things that you can use technology in a 2D, in a 2D environment, but if you go for virtual reality, you want to be immersed. You want to create a different reality around you, right? So, and of course, you need to have the the needs of that. So sorry about this duplicated word, but actually you don't use virtual reality, for example, for writing an email or writing a text. But if you want to explore 3D objects, if you want to explore the world in 3D, of course, if you want to walk around, you want to have this kind of environment that you feel that you are there, right? So one thing more is, and that is for the socialization, for example, one thing that is quite important is to feel the others, to feel who is with you and where they are. So to feel that is someone there, uh, and this co-presence feeling, it's also important. And immersion also brings you this kind of co-presence. So this is one of the benefits of using this. So if you go for what are the challenges, so and the challenges is how you can bring this uh, to older adults or to uh, part of a population that actually don't is not uh, it doesn't have a high rate of digital literacy. So if you need to do this digital transition, you need to have a very well uh, planned roadmap. And another thing that is important is uh, they need they uh, they should need it. So they should not use it because it's fancy. Because if you just use it because it's fancy, you will use it once. So if you need it, if you actually see benefits of using it, then you will use it. So I think one of the challenges is actually so how you can introduce, how you can identify your ambassadors so they can use it. So if you don't, and this is not a challenge only for older adults. This is a challenge for virtual reality itself, because actually virtual reality is as been challenging these. And if you look back for 2 or 3 years ago, when Meta announced the metaverse, so everyone was amazed about what it will be. But then it appears something called ChatGPT, and nowadays, so no one talks about the metaverse, but everyone talks about ChatGPT and artificial real and artificial intelligence, etc. So this is something that actually you need those ambassadors, and you need to have not these fancy applications, but actually applications that make sense and you really need them. So if you see these basic needs of socialization, of being together, uh, and you see the need of having a 3D environment instead of having this conference that we have now. Instead of being small rectangles, we can be each other. We can just have a hug and hug each other. So these kind of feelings that we can have in 3D environment, and this kind of non these kind of interactions that we cannot have in this kind of environment. Of course, this is a benefit that we can use into these virtual reality environments. But of course, then you will need to select what kind of technology you will deploy. So if you go for headsets, you have something that is, if someone used the headsets alone, it could be dangerous because they could fall, etc. So there should be someone there to help. But if you use a TV screen, so there's, of course, you don't have a full immersion, but actually it could be a midway step to reach the dissemination and, of course, this digital transition.
Amazing. Yeah, you touched on a couple of important points when you were kind of answering my question over there. I think, yeah, like it's first and foremost important to have that consideration of, is it meeting basic needs? Is it important to have in their lives? And then also just the accessibility element of the type of interactive technology being used, the headset versus someone assisting them versus the television. I think all really important things to consider because, there might be things that might go wrong. So it's good to just have that in the back of your head when you're going through with that. So I guess kind of in line with that, besides virtual reality technology, what other types of technology have you either been conducting research on or have you seen promise in order to support older adults in their daily lives?
Yeah, so one thing that we should not be aware of is artificial intelligence, of course. So it's something that currently it's a hot topic. So, and actually, we should understand how we can bring these all together. So, and if you look at this, so and if you go back to what is moving our research group is bring technology to augment human capabilities. So, what kind of things can be done by technology uh, better or to help people, and in what kinds of these tasks uh, artificial intelligence can actually be used. So this will be something like transparent that you will not. So uh, then you will go to the ethical topics that I will go there in a few moments. But if ideally you can see this as a transparent technology that can be used by those without thinking about how I have this, right? So this is something that is done by technology because technology was trained to do that. And these kind of algorithms are trained with artificial intelligence techniques. So, and one thing that I see is for some tasks, uh, artificial intelligence can be used for actually for adapting tasks for the users. So if you just create a reminder to take a medicine, but you have something in your agenda that will put you away from home at that time that you will be able to, that you should take the medicine, it should be rescheduled to a time when you are at home so you can take the medicine. So technology could do that. It should not do the rescheduling, but technology should understand the context and should reschedule it to that. So this could be some kind of intelligent system that can help you to adapt, and you will not need to think of this kind of adaptation. So what I see is actually bringing this artificial intelligence transparently to our daily lives, so they can help all the adults in their everyday tasks in an intelligent way. So I don't like a lot intelligent way, but in a way that makes sense, right? So things that we know how they can be adapted, and procedures that can be adapted. Actually, artificial intelligence algorithms can understand patterns and act uh, actually as these patterns. So, of course, we have challenges, and we have challenges on the limits of these kind of interactions, and where uh, until where we can go with this artificial intelligence. And not only that, is how transparent artificial intelligence should be, and what we should know that artificial intelligence does, or how artificial intelligence can influence people. So, but this is something that we can discuss as ethical problems of these. And of course, we can put this together. So we can put virtual reality and we can put artificial intelligence together. And we are reaching now. So if you look at the news, we are reaching now avatars that are not real persons, but are powered by artificial intelligence. So they behave as humans. they can act as humans, they can talk as humans, and they can hear as humans. So actually, this could be challenging for this technology, but this should be a world. And when you think about virtual realities or these kind of immersive environments, you can think of environments that are a hybrid. You will have humans, you will have these intelligent agents, and you can talk with all of them without knowing probably if they are humans or not. But of course, this will be a big challenge.
Absolutely. I just wanted to ask maybe one more question before we move on to some questions from the audience. So, if anyone has some brewing questions, get them ready to go. And you can either put them in the chat box or you can raise your hand. But before we get on to that, I just wanted to ask one more question in the line of ethics that you were talking about. So, at the heart of human computer and human AI interactions, what are some of the key ethical factors that you take into consideration when you start on this journey or you take on these initiatives to help support older adults?
Yeah, one of them I was actually talking about is, so when we reach this, that Alan Turing put in the imitation game. So when we talk to an entity and we cannot uh, identify the difference if we are talking to another human or if we are talking to a machine, this brings actually a challenge that is, should I know that is a machine or shouldn't I know that is a machine? I would say I should always know that I'm talking to a machine. And I should always know how the machine is doing that, because it's not magic. They they are doing that because were trained to do that. And actually, this should act. One thing that we have now with the AI Act is the transparency and the responsible AI. So AI should be transparent and should be explainable. So I should know what AI is doing, so I can trust into the AI. Another thing is how AI can influence people. And we are living in a world nowadays that influencers are actually have a key role in our society. So now imagine that we can put these influencers as uh, artificial intelligent agents trained in a certain way, and how they can influence society. So how can we protect them from this kind of agents? So of course, this is something that we should think about. And of course, fortunately, Europe is thinking very hard on this regarding how far we can go with artificial intelligence. But actually, we need not only legislation, but we need to have very strong ethical rules for those that are working with AI regarding where we can go and where we should not and we cannot go.
All right, perfect. That's a good note to kind of end my line of questioning with. So I think we might be ready to kind of delve in some of the questions or comments that the audience is putting in the chat box. Let me just kind of scroll up here. And just a kind reminder, if you have your mic on, if you can turn your mic off unless you're asking a question, much appreciated. All right. So I'm just going to start from a question from Shmuel. He's our weekly contributor. He always has a great question to ask. All right. So I'm just going to take a look here. So according to you, what role do you think that governments and authorities need to have in developing interactive technologies, VR technologies for improving life quality and well-being of older adults?
So I think what we have been experiencing in Europe is, so the Art Care is funded by the European Commission, so it's a H2020 project, and it's part of what IDEA is working on in interactive technology. So they have they have a big funding for interactive technologies in several topics. And this actually, I think it's working as a seed for the cooperation between and for the technology transfer from research to companies so they can actually develop this kind of technologies, and more than that, to study and to understand what impact this could have in the market. So I think mostly governments and what they are doing is actually seeding these kind of technologies and helping this kickoff of these technologies in order to the industry understand where they can go. And after this seed, so if actually this as a market, so they can go further and they can develop these and they can put more money on this in a sustainable way in research. So research could have results that can be applied in new products, and of course we can be always evolving and bringing new technologies and new developments for those that actually need that. So I think they are not what they could do, but I think what they are really doing is that. Of course, there's also the industry, and I must have a note about this. So this journey starts because we have a company that challenge and invest on kicking off and having this proof of concept. So actually, industry also has this rule of having money for research, so and funding research for exploring this kind of new technologies and how they can be used, and of course, having this uh, could lead to something that will be used in the future or a product or not.
Amazing. Perfect. And I know, Vera, you've posted, I think, a comment in the beginning about a conceptual manual of the use of VR in care and nursing homes. And then there was another comment later on. I just wanted to know if you wanted to unmute and say a little comment or have any questions for Dr. Paredes regarding that.
Thank you very much. I'm just listening to your explanation and introduction to your projects. I guess the ethical part, it's really a big issue. And speaking about the conceptual manual, we were lucky, like an interdisciplinary team, the Czech Republic, we were lucky to be donated, supported by the agency, as you mentioned, that there are some ways to be supported. So the Czech Technological Agency donated, or we got a grant for two main results: software, a kit of virtual experiences, reflecting psycho-spiritual needs of the elderly, so all the adults. So that was important for us to use to show them or provide them something supporting those kind of needs, and use their potential of maybe that kind of development. And then also another result was a conceptual manual, because exactly as you said, in the Czech Republic, the market, it's kind of not wild, but many companies providing different quality of VR. Sometimes they provided like something easily used for everybody, 24 hours, 7 days, even people with dementia. So we were happy to just create something like that for the care homes or nursing homes to orient a little bit better how the virtual reality might be used to be a tool for more social contact, how to use the virtual experiences in the real or everyday life of residents, how to use it for example, reminiscence or memory training, because it's a big complex. I would say in the Czech Republic, we are pretty progressive in that new technologies used like activity for residents, but it's what you said, usually it's connected with some researches or something that we try, but then there is a problem that the facility has no money to incorporate it to real daily life. So that's kind of problem too. So there are great researches, a great result, but it's always challenging to bring it to the facilities because, of course, some simple virtual reality might cost less. So, of course, they are interested in something they can pay for. And the sophisticated virtual softwares are kind of expensive. So that's a problem. So I would be very happy to know more about a practical situation in Portugal, for example.
Thank you very much for your it's not a question, it's a comment, and what you shared, that when I talked about VR2K, so one of the outcomes that we expect from VR2K is something like a cookbook, so something that can help this transition and can guide those that want to have this transition. Is not only having the technology ready for deploying, is actually how you can deploy the technology there. So at the care homes, at the homes of the users. So this is a very important step in order for the technology be adopted. If you don't have this roadmap for so it's more difficult, this deployment, that actually the development of the technology. So as you said, so you have so many technologies, but technologies are not created for the people. They are just created in the lab, and they don't think about what are the people needs, what they really need to use, how they want to use them. So one thing that I did not talk about VR2Care is VR2Care was co-created from the first moment. So we were into these user organizations. So, and we were we in focus groups, and we were showing them some examples of virtual reality technologies, so they can understand what we were doing, what we were trying to do, and they can give us some guidelines to where should we go, and what kind of technologies should we bring to them. And when I talk about technology for this kind of for everyone, I'm thinking about co-creation and technologies that can be co-created with the users and can be adapted for the users, and more important than that, personalized to each one, because each one has the different needs and different capabilities of using the technology, and the technology should be able to adapt themselves to those. And when I was talking about the role of artificial intelligence should be able to have a role in this personalization. So in understanding the patterns and adapting the technology to that particular person that has specific needs. Of course, taking into consideration the big umbrella of the features that the technology can bring. So thank you very much for your comment, and of course for sure I fully agree that it's the most important is not the technology itself, is actually how to bring technology to the users.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I have a question here from Abe Brown, and they ask, are there any options or ideas regarding tactile approaches to VR or technology for people with combined vision and hearing losses?
Yes, there are devices that can actually bring you more than the visual part. So I know haptic is and haptic sensors are important for those with visual impairments. So using this kind of haptic technology can bring them a perspective of these virtual environments, and also sound can also give them this perception. So for those, there are other options that can enable them to go into virtual reality without the visual perception. Of course, sound could be important for those that have a visual impairment, but for those that have hearing problems, also haptic technologies can play an important role, and there are some devices for those. Let me just have a note on that, that this was something I talked about my first research work with blind users, and behind the history of that application for blind to take notes is the cost of a device, a specific device for the blinds for taking notes. So as the blinds are a short group, so mass production cannot be applied. So products are really expensive because they are just for that very closed group. So if you can adapt mass devices or personalized mass devices with applications for those, then you can actually have products that are not so expensive, and they are personalized for those. So these kind of devices, they are specific. Some of them are specifics, so they are expensive, and of course, they cannot be accessible from everyone. But fortunately, there are some funding for those.
Amazing. Thank you. So we have, I think, Anna Maria, you had a few comments. I was wondering if you wanted to unmute and discuss any of those comments, or if you had a question coming out of those comments.
Sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation. Very, how to say, helpful for older adults. What I see with technology is as diverse as diverse are the needs of older adults. I'm talking especially for older adults that are independent, but the use of technology is very important. I had the experience of using or be frequent user of the services provided by Senior Planet in the US. That's extraordinary, the services that they provide for seniors from Monday to Friday, all day practically. We can join any activity. But to me, the success of the use of the platform of Zoom, it could be other platform, is the caring, the compassion, the love, and the empathy those who are leading the program because it's direct, live direct stream. For example, fitness programs. And I see the great difference because I also take part, I live in Canada, but I take part in services, visual programming offered here in Canada. And I see, for example, in the state, one program that the participation ranges from 500 to 780 people with the same instructor, but he's caring, compassionate, and loving. And it tells you why. He never complains about the number of people enrolled in his activities. He promotes other activities, and all the instructors on that organization are extraordinary. I see here in Canada that, for example, this virtual programming, I do a lot of advocacy for virtual programming, fitness program for seniors, and they put a cap of 20. That is, to me, that is an insult. Anyway, so, and there it shows me who has interest in serving seniors for real and others that do the job because it's a job and it's paid, but others that is beyond that. So what can be done to educate the Canadian government at all three levels of the government to be more conscious about the needs of older adults? Because virtual programming is amazing, effective. Again, because if you see even through the screen, you can feel the love and the caring of the individual. When I get frustrated, because of my experience here in Canada, I just finish the meeting or whatever it is I'm having at the moment and connect with the United States, and I find something that lifts my soul and give me hope. But I cannot live in hope. I want to be more assertive, perhaps, in creating that awareness of the importance of serving older adults by using technology. That's all. And in Canada, we have one organization that's doing extraordinary job, is Dancing with Parkinson as well. But because of the financial constraints, they have one program at 11 o'clock every single day of the year. That is fantastic too. And they welcome seniors across Canada and people with Parkinson. So it's how we can, I think perhaps in Canada, we need more education and more awareness of the needs of older adults in Canada.
Thank you, Ana Maria. I was wondering, Dr. Paredes, if you could speak to any of what you mentioned in terms of maybe, including that compassion, elements of compassion, empathy within the realm of virtual reality.
So when you think about virtual reality, so you think about, I think about these environments as somewhere that is populated by people. So if they are populated by humans or by human beings, so of course we expect to have this kind of feelings in these environments. But of course, you need to have, and Ana Maria was saying that you need to have these caregivers. You need to have these people that actually, of course, we don't think this about fully autonomously. We need to have someone that actually can show the way to this autonomy, and actually these need to be promoted, and you need to have this kind of course in our case, this kind of organizations engaged in bringing this technology to users and helping older adults and helping the adoption of these technology by the older population and helping spreading the word. So I think this is actually challenging. So having engaged caregivers and bringing this technology and adopting these kind of technologies, because some of them they have all these characteristics. They are very empathic. They do their job with a lot of passion, but they actually are resistant to change. So they don't want to go beyond what they have now and put also technology on that. And this is actually a challenge, having people that have this care and actually bring them to the transition. And once more, and getting back to what Vir was saying, though, it's not about having the technology, it's about bringing the technology. So the roadmap, the cookbook to how we can put people using the technology, because the technology is there. And we have seen it in the pandemics. So we have all our tools when they were needed, they were already there. But we didn't have the need of those tools until the pandemic. So only when we go home and have a full lockdown, then we realize that we need this kind of video conferencing tools, and we have them. And so regarding virtual reality is the same. So we actually have the technology, we had the technology for everyone to be used. So the issue is actually how to bring this technology to everyone, and especially in what we are talking right now to all the adults, and putting them into this new wave of the metaverse and virtual reality.
Incredible. That's a great way to kind of end off our discussion today. It's a lot to consider. The importance of, we have the technology, but we need to bring it to people. How can we bring it to people, and in the best way possible, so that they actually can take in, what we're trying to help them with, right? So I think those are all, incredibly important things to consider. So we are slowly coming to the end of today's Global Cafe. And before we wrap up, I would like to hear your key takeaways from today's discussion, Dr. Paredes. So I'll give you a little time to gather some of your thoughts as I will introduce our next week's topic and speaker right now. So please join our discussion next week with Dr. Danny Collinridge Moore, Research Fellow at International Observatory on End-of-Life Care, on the topic of older adults and end-of-life care. So please join us to listen to that great discussion next week. And I also want to mention, I know that I think Vera and Mark, you've thrown in some great resources in the chat box. So everyone, please take a look at all of those. And some people have brought up some great organizations to take a look at. So I think that could be helpful as well. So now we're back to you, Dr. Paredes. In a few sentences, more or less, what are some of your key takeaways from our conversation today?
So I think what the sum up that you have about what we have been saying is actually can summarize what I've been talking. So of course we have now great technology, but this great technology should be serving people, and the people should not be serving the technology. So actually we need to find usefulness on the technology, and when the technology actually augments our capabilities of being humans. So, and we need to understand that being human is actually being social humans. And I see lots of potential on technology for creating bridges between people, for creating communication channels for everyone to interact, to talk, to communicate, because this is a human need. So it's talk to each other, interact, discuss, and technology should bring that, and should not bring what we see nowadays, that is creating a one-to-one interaction where one is technology and the other is ourselves. So this will close up people into themselves and not with each other. So technology should be seen as a door for the others and not a closing door. So this would be my message today and what I want to bring you. So thank you very much for this kind invitation. It was a pleasure to be with you all, and of course, be free to contact me, and I will be glad to talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paredes, for that amazing session. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you all next week. Thank you so much.